What's going on, everybody? Welcome to season 2 of the Pitstop Pals with Nielsen and Gager. And as the entire world in Canada focuses on the NHL trade deadline, we're just a couple of guys getting ready for season 2 of the Pitstop Pals and 2023 F1 season. Gager, feels good to have the stuff back on again, doesn't it? Oh, we lost him. Where did he go? We just had him. Gager, reconnect. I need you back. There he is.
Oh, there.
Don't ever do that again. You scared me.
Sorry. My internet connection's excited, Dusty. It's crazy. This is absolutely nuts. Did
the offseason go by fast for you, Gager, or was it kind of drawn out? No,
it didn't. I was anxiously waiting, and then you just get like fire hosed with all the stuff. So you get the testing. You get Drive to Survive. You only get a week to prepare for everything that's happening. So I feel like I don't have any storage space left in my brain. I got to start getting rid of some stuff.
Well, I'm already rattled because, this weekend we have hockey at 8, 10, and 2. So my entire morning is going to be consumed by the final weekend of minor hockey. And then after that, we'll be able to settle in. That Joey's asking, boys, who are the top 3 constructors this year? Any bold prediction? Well, we're going to get to that. We're going to give you a season preview, and then obviously we'll just right back into. We're hoping to have a couple of sponsors hop on board again. Obviously, Coolbet, Nielsen Media, Coolbet Network. If you want to go bet right now, actually, Gage, let's start here because I was just looking at it. Max Verstappen, a minus 154 favorite right now. Probably the best number you're going to get him at. I think Lewis is second at plus 500. So let's say you bet $50, you win 25, you get 75 back. Is that a safe enough bet this year for Max, or would you go to somebody else in the field? I feel like minus 154 is the best you're ever going to get, unless Max loses this week or something and maybe bumps down to like minus 130 or something. But yeah. I feel like you got to get on it now. Same with Red Bull constructors. It's the same number.
It's tough not to. Yeah, I don't think that number is going to get any better for Max. He's the guy to beat, and the car is just set up perfectly for them this year. And even like I was reading, just Checo liking everything about the car as well. Like I started thinking about this today. I'm even excited to see that internal battle with Red Bull, right? So because Checo looked fast, he finished fast over the whole weekend. Yeah. It's going to be very interesting to see what if there's any sort of. We all know what happened last year with when Max didn't slow down for Checo.
Not the best teammate.
Yeah, so it's and hope. Well, you hope as a team's sake, they put all that behind them. But man, it's going to be tough for a lot of other teams. Red Bull just seems like way ahead of the curve as of right now.
Well, so let's go to testing. I mean, testing just wrapped up over this past weekend. You were saying on my show this morning, you had all 36 hours on. You probably dove into about a dozen hours of it. I saw a lot of stories coming out of this. The first thing you mentioned, and let's just stick with Red Bull here for a second, Gager, kind of just put it on cruise control in the testing here, do you think? Like they must have more up their sleeves still to come, I would think, right?
Well, you want to see everything with the car, heavy fuel loads, different tire compounds, long runs, short runs. And it just, overall, all the cars did well, I think, compared to last year. Like the reliability issues were, I think it was only Aston Martin and it was a sensor issue why they brought it in real quickly. But other than that, and even right off the hop, it was a second faster than testing last year. So everyone's getting a little bit quicker. It was pretty smooth sailing for them, right? I think they just got everything that they wanted to get done. Running Max the full day on the first day just to get, iron out all those things. It just seems like Red Bull communicated, I think, better than anyone else in the field last year. That was one of their big.
You mentioned that a number of times on episodes last year. Yep.
Just with their strategy, the feedback from the drivers, from everything. It just, every piece of the puzzle just fit perfectly for them, right? And it showed on the track.
Do you think it's as dominant as it was last year? Is that what ends up happening here with Red Bull again? Like, do they run away with this thing? The constructors, at least, and possibly Max. We'll see how Checo sticks around. But do you think they run away with this by the middle of this season again, or is there a stiffer test coming? I figure we'll kind of work our way through the top end teams here, and Red Bull obviously with what they accomplished last year. Gage, I mean, it's not better, right? It can't be better, can it?
I hope not, because I want to see more teams fighting at the top. I want to see Mercedes take a huge step. Some part of me, Dusty, has I want to see Lewis Hamilton win that 8th title for some reason. I don't know why. I like those athletes that dominate over a long period of time. I think that would be interesting coming down to the wire again. I'd like to see Ferrari get back into it and fix the issues that they had, the self-inflicted issues that they had for the better part of the season. I'd like to see something happen there. There's already just squabbling with how the car is set up better for Sainz than it is for Leclerc. So, what's going to be really interesting, though, is a lot of contracts are coming to an end, or by mid-season, we might see, I love that movement, or the discussions of drivers leaving to other teams. All depending on how the whole season goes. But I really hope that Mercedes and Ferrari and, we'll talk about, but if Aston Martin can get up into that top 4, like, I think that would be the ideal, to have actually 4 teams kind of battling for that.
That would be great. That's what McLaren was supposed to provide last year, and they just didn't. I mean, it was that simple. And Joey says, will Ferrari have troubles in decision-making again? They would have been tops last year. And let's dive into Ferrari next year, Gager, because they made a significant change. But already, we're hearing Charles Leclerc doesn't like how the car is set up better for Carlos Sainz than it is for him. Now, these two guys last year seemed to get along pretty good as teammates, if I recall correctly. It's just that the overall decision-making from Ferrari, I mean, 2, 3, 4, 5 races into the season, Gage, we're thinking Ferrari maybe not be the favorite, but early in the season, we're thinking, oh man, Ferrari might be able to really push Red Bull here. What's going to happen with Mercedes? And then Ferrari just continually shot themselves in the foot over and over and over. And if it wasn't decision-making, it was Carlos Sainz going off the track and not being able to finish, and Charles Leclerc blowing it in. Like, it was a disastrous season. I know they finished well when it's all said and done, the overall big picture, Gager, but if that happens again, I would be very surprised. Like, Ferrari's got to have this thing on track, for lack of a better term, this year, right?
Yeah, they have to get the strategy right before. I don't know, the fact that they were going to, like, coming on the radio and listening to the helmet cams, and they would constantly be saying, okay, we're going to plan G. We're going to plan H. And I'm like, what's
They did drop some plan Gs and plan Hs last year, didn't they?
They did. And I'm like, how many plans are, like, sometimes simplifying is the best way to do things. And obviously things change throughout the race and you want to have different plans. But I think there was a little bit of overcomplicating everything as well with Ferrari, trying to squeeze too much out of, like, overthinking what they had to do, because some of them just didn't make sense. Like, you saw, like, in the Drive to Survive, it's box, no, stay out. That's gotta be, like, right away. They have to know what they're doing. So, I mean, there was probably some huge discussions. It was sad to see Binotto go, like, seeing him and Gunther in that first.
A good character, right? Like, that was a good, yeah.
Like, and it's cool to see the other side of these team principles as well in that show, which I really like. But obviously he steps down, takes the bullet for the team. But now Freddie Vasseur has to step up and change a lot of things and make sure that does not happen again. They did have some reliability issues, but like I said, another year with these cars, Dusty, I think it's they've got a lot of things under control a little bit more, and that power unit seems to be going well. And even in the Alfa Romeo looked pretty strong in testing as well with that power unit. So hopefully they get the reliabilities have done, but it's the strategy. They have to match Red Bull. right? They can't get it wrong again.
Carlos Sainz or Charles Leclerc? Who finishes the more points this year?
Ooh, good one.
It's a good question, right?
That is good. God, can I answer this after?
After you see that car setup for
after practice on. I still think Leclerc. I think he just
Sainz showed real good moments though last year, right? Like,
he did. It was later on in the year though, right?
Yeah, the push was for Charles. Like it's that simple. It will be again, I would think.
You think, but when I look back, that last year there was a little bit of contract squabbles with Carlos at the beginning, and then once he got that finalized for another year, it kind of smoothed things out, if I remember correctly. So now maybe he's just going to focus. He doesn't have to worry about that too much and just focus on the driving for now. Because I think that could have been in the back of his head trying to do, again, just a little bit too much. And that's how he drove a little bit. There was those subtle little mistakes.
Yeah.
He didn't really start hitting his stride, I think, till halfway through the season.
Man, we've got a lot still to get to in this preview episode, but it is exciting and fun to be talking about Formula One again, buddy. I'm pretty excited about this. Now we can have the discussion of the drivers for Mercedes, and we will. But Gager, Mercedes coming out of testing, there's still some talk here. Are they going to try to flip these side pods prior to this weekend? Is that something I saw pop up? Like, what did you think of the testing? And is Mercedes actually going to flip things on the go here at the beginning of the season?
To me, it just looked like both drivers were not struggling with the car, but it looked stiff and it got out of sorts a lot of time. And I'm, granted, just watching little bits and pieces of them going around the course, but it just seemed like the car's better. They've gotten rid of the bouncing, but there's just a little bit more there that's bothersome. Even when you hear Lewis and George talk, they're happy because it's not last year and their backs aren't hurting, but it just seems like there's something missing out of that car that you'd think after winter and getting everything done of what they did and getting back into the fight and getting some things right. It just seemed like they didn't progress as much as the other teams did, where I thought Mercedes just having such a history of winning, you think they'd get that under wraps. We'll see. I think we'll see more once at the first practice.
Yeah.
Lewis put in some pretty good laps too in that car. So, and again, you don't.
Did it surprise you though that they didn't change the side pods coming into testing? Like that they decided to run it back with the same car when it was the only significant difference between their car last year and the other ones that they just couldn't keep up with, right? Like I thought they switched it up.
Yeah, and the biggest thing was the straight line speed was the major factor with them as well. So, and they don't seem to have it the same as the Red Bulls or the Ferraris or even the Aston Martins to an extent as well. So that's the major thing that piqued my interest. How did they not get that straight line speed, which something that they were known for such a long period of time.
So is this the year that things transition to George Russell? I don't think Mercedes will ever run Lewis Hamilton as a number 2 guy. Like it's the Lewis Hamilton show until it's not Lewis Hamilton anymore, isn't it? Like I can't imagine them making decisions. Now, at times last year, it did look like they made some decisions in favor of George Russell, but Lewis is still your bread and butter. Nothing against the young kid, but it's still got to be the number 1 guy.
I really think that George drove such not as good a car as a Mercedes for so long with the Williams, and just got into and thought, you know what, this isn't that bad. It's better than what I had before, and was kind of used to it. And I thought that Lewis tried to do a lot more things with his setup, and that just everything that they were trying to do didn't work. I think it'll probably be a little bit. The cars will be a little bit more even, I think, this year as to setup. But no, you can't give it to George yet. George he was Mr. Consistent for the first half of the season. I thought he got a little bit stressed when Lewis started closing that point gap. But no, Lewis Hamilton he's a phenomenal driver. And just the fact that he could set the all-time record, you give him at least a few years here, I think, Dusty, to try to bust that thing before you hand the reins over to George.
You want to witness some more greatness here from Lewis Hamilton than give him the car. He's certainly capable of it from an athlete perspective, I would think. We're going to give you some top 3 predictions in just a second. 2 more teams I want to discuss. Aston Martin, Gager. Do they separate themselves from that pack they were in last year? And do they get up to the point where they push the other 3 teams that we've just been talking about?
I think so. I really do. I think they're on the cusp of in the top 4 teams. They and it's them getting better, and it's some of the other teams not looking as good too. I think they're really going to separate. Alonso had a phenomenal year last year. If it wasn't for the car breaking down at certain points, he would have finished a lot higher, I think, in the overall driver's standing. So I think having him is interesting. The car looks great. I've always loved that English racing green. I think it's one of the best colors now that everyone's else gone to black, and they kind of stick out,
stand out a bit. Yeah.
Oh yeah. It looks great. I really hope that something happens here and they can start battling. My biggest prediction is they're going to be in the hunt at the start of the season here. And I would look to Alonso to get one of those podiums.
Yeah. Oh boy, that's going to be exciting. What about McLaren? Disaster coming again? They brought in Piastri, looks like a young stud. You still got Lando. I mean, two really good young talents here. I don't know how much to expect from Piastri at this point. We expected more from Lando last year, but I've already seen things about this car where they're like, don't like where the car's at right now. Like, it feels like it's going to be a long year. It feels like Danny Ricciardo is going to be sitting there like us in some Red Bull gear just watching, being like, take that.
You can't use the rolly bag. Ever since the rolly hockey bag, it's just gone right into the pooper for McLaren. The car doesn't look good. The drivers seem unhappy. I think this is going to be a disaster for McLaren this year. I don't know what it is with that, Dusty, but my expectations of them, they will be at the bottom. I'd look to them to be closer to Williams than anything else. Just
really,
car and the
even Williams' car had some moments in testing, didn't they?
Yeah, but it's Williams.
Yeah, that sounds about. It's going to be a tough year for McLaren where we're like, yeah, but it's Williams when we're talking about McLaren. It's going to be that's going to be a tough year, frustrating. I see how they get out of it. Like, what's the path for McLaren to get back to respectability? That'll be a fascinating story.
I can't wait to see Piastri and see what he's capable of too. Like all the last year, just that outside noise with Ricciardo and trying to get Piastri, and he's got a lot of pressure on him to perform. And like Lando's kind of had a pretty easy route to be the number 1 guy. I
give our official prediction, listening to the podcast, and we did pretty good numbers last year, or watching on the live stream, or watching it archived on YouTube or whatever. Pretty simple process for you to set it up. It's a little bit of a nightmare. You've done it before already. We use the Formula One actual fantasy platform, right?
Yeah, we just go to F1.com or Formula1.com. You can go to the gaming section. It's really straightforward. You build your teams, and then you can join a league. Like there's a few like Canadian leagues or the World League, or you can set up your own. It gives you the code, sets everything up for you. You can have as many teams as you want. We've changed to 2 teams this year, which is
we're exciting. Each running 2 teams.
we're running 2 teams. I think Cass hasn't stopped looking at his teams.
Oh yeah, he's been texting us all day about his teams. Like
I've created a monster. with Cass. So, but very straightforward and fun, and nice this year because there's some new things added with the turbo driver. You can select anyone now over the certain amount, and 2 constructors. So lots more opportunity to gain points. I mean, last year was just a dominating performance like me. I was Red Bull last year. It was just wire to wire.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm hoping,
the team nobody likes.
Yeah. So I hope it's a little bit more. I'm sure it'll be closer this year. It's going to be a lot of fun. But yeah, it's pretty easy to set up this.
All right, Gage, top 3 drivers this year, buddy. What's the projected standings look like in your opinion?
Okay. Well, I got Max. I have to pick Max.
Got to go Max,
now.
right?
He's number 1. I'm going to go with Lewis Hamilton, number 2. I think something's going to happen. And Fernando Alonso, 3. I don't know what it is. I have a weird feeling about this.
Wow. I like this.
I've seen what Ferrari's done, and they just don't give me any hope that, and I think they're going to take a step back because it's the pressure of Ferrari and not doing well. And after everything that happened last year, and now all of a sudden the car's not set up properly, they're starting off on the wrong foot, and I think the pressure's going to get to them, and they're going to fall off.
I think I'll go Max at the top. I'm going to go Lewis. I'm going to get that nostalgia. Like, let's do it. It might not be as simple, but there'll be some moments. So I can't get it past it. Max, Lewis, and then I will go with one of Ferrari. I'll go with Charles Leclerc working his way in there as well. But I have a lot of time for this Alonso storyline with Aston Martin at this stage of his career, man. That would make for 2 or 3 really good episodes of Drive to Survive. That'd be excellent.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Can you imagine end of the year where it's a 3-way battle between Max, Fernando, and whoever, if it's Lewis or Charles, like all battling. I want the championship to be decided in that last race like it was 2 years ago.
That would be amazing. I mean, that would be, oh God. That would be heaven. If you want to bet it right now, the F1 odds are open over at our part of the Nielsen Media Cool Bet Network. Max Verstappen is the favorite to win it at -154. I think that's actually pretty good value right now. Lewis Hamilton is +500. Charles Leclerc +500. You might want to go sprinkle old Alonso there at +4,000 right now, Gager. If he is your guy, there's a little sprinkle there, and you can actually bet head-to-head teammates. So Charles Leclerc -250, Carlos Sainz +180, Lando's -400, Lewis Hamilton's only -167, George Russell +125, and then Max is -500, Sergio +325, Fernando -1250, Lance Stroll +600. So not a real chance there. Hey, it's not like, it's normal for us to wrap up the Pitstop Pals with a laugh at the expense of Lance Stroll. So I guess that's what we just did. Gager, enjoy this weekend, buddy. We'll be back breaking it down late into the weekend or early next week, man. This is good. Fun chatting with you again. I can't wait. Lights out, buddy. Lights out.
Lights out. It's almost time till those lights go out, buddy. I can't wait.